Welcome to Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy, and spoilers are ahead for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Sharon Carter is the power broker.
Mild shock.
Okay, alright, well we all saw that coming, but the big question is, what's the deal with Sharon? Why did she break bad, and what's her plan? Well, here's another shocker. What if that's not actually Sharon?
Wait, what?
What if this is a Skrull, and this is all just the beginning of Secret Invasion?
Explain yourself.
Marvel announced that they are doing a Secret Invasion Disney Plus show. The series will be about Nick Fury and Talos taking on a sect of Skrulls who have infiltrated every level of life on Earth. The Secret Invasion storyline was a massive crossover event in the comics. The Skrulls infiltrated Earth using their shape-shifting powers to replace countless heroes and almost take over the world.
Somebody in this camp ain't what he appears to be. Right now, that may be one or two of us. By spring, it could be all of us.
So how do we know who's human?
And that's the terrifying thing about the Skrulls. They can replace anyone. Is the person next to you a human, or is that a Skrull? Who do you trust? That's when the paranoia seeps in, and you experience a paralyzing fear of suspicion. Who is replaced? Who was a Skrull from the start? Is that mailman a Skrull? This senator? This guy? Or maybe this woman? Was Rhodey a Skrull all along? Or maybe Happy? Julia Louis-Dreyfus? Ross? The other Ross? Grandpa Steve? Wait, are you a Skrull? Am I? Doug?
Are you freaking out? Tell me the truth. Were you in on this the whole time?
Were you?
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Marvel flipped the script on us in Captain Marvel with the twist that the Skrulls weren't the baddies. Talos and his faction were merely peaceful refugees who became allies to Carol Danvers and Nick Fury.
I could go back to being your boss.
Oh, please don't.
Come on, I loved sporting his beautiful blue eyes.
Fury trusted the Skrulls so much that he allowed Talos to impersonate him on Earth. And the ending of WandaVision confirmed that Fury allowed other Skrulls to work within SWORD and other organizations, maybe even S.H.I.E.L.D. Shapeshifters are a great tool for a super spy. But it's like playing with fire. So far, we've only met the good Skrulls. But like with any alien race, there are going to be some bad ones out there. And Sharon could be one of these bad ones. So here's the idea. After the events of Civil War, Sharon went into hiding. At some point, she was replaced by a Skrull who used Sharon's skills to infiltrate Madripoor and take over as the power broker, all part of a future invasion. You can even make the case that Sharon was a Skrull during Civil War. As we've pointed out in past videos, her actions in that movie directly led to Steve Rogers opposing Tony Stark. She was the one who convinced him to oppose signing the Accords.
Even if the whole world is telling you to move, it is your duty to plant yourself like a tree, look them in the eye and say no.
And later provided him and Sam with their gear so they could fight against Tony. A divided Avengers team would work to the Skrulls' benefit.
This is what the enemy wants. To tear us apart with paranoia and mistrust.
Madripoor is pretty much the Mos Eisley of the MCU.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
It's a great place to establish nefarious connections and gain access to a bunch of illegal weapons and tech. But more importantly, there's Wilfred Nagel and his superior super soldier serum. The Skrulls can shapeshift into anyone they want, but they can only replicate the appearance of others, not their powers. That's where the Super Skrulls come into play. The Super Skrulls have the ability to replicate both appearance and powers, which makes them a huge threat to the world's heroes. This is why the Skrull Sharon helped Nagel finish his research. She didn't want human super soldiers, she wanted to turn her fellow Skrulls into super soldiers. But now that Sharon got her pardon, the next phase in the Skrull Invasion can begin. Sharon now has a position of power within the government, which is perfect for the Skrulls.
We're about to have full access to government secrets, prototype weapons, you name it. Should be something for everyone.
And speaking of, here's hoping we will see the Super Skrull Kl'rt, who will be a wonderful addition to the MCU. Sharon is a great choice to be a Skrull. She's well connected to other heroes, S.H.I.E.L.D., and the government. Plus, she's trustworthy due to her being Peggy's niece and playing kissy face with Steve Rogers.
That's gross.
Yeah, I know.
In the comics, Secret Invasion was started by the Skrull Queen, Veranke. She prophesied the destruction of the Skrulls' homeworld and targeted Earth as the new home for her people. So, the Skrull Invasion was a type of religious crusade. Veranke replaced Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman, as she played a crucial role in the successful infiltration of Earth. And since we all know who Sharon is, it would make sense if she was replaced by Veranke, a recognizable face with a villainous twist.
This is the key to subjugating the humans, to embrace us, to embrace change. And they will listen. They will believe.
Also, a religious crusade path would be a very intriguing direction. Marvel wasn't afraid to explore serious racial and political themes in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Religions and cults are also very relevant, especially when religion is used by extremists to justify terrible actions. Giving the Skrulls that motivation adds depth and complexity to their story. And we all know that nothing unites extremists more than ancient religious prophecy. In the movies, the Skrulls used to be a cosmic empire, but the Kree-Skrull War decimated their world and they fractured into small factions, becoming powerless refugees. Talos and his group found hope with Captain Marvel's help.
This is just the beginning. There are thousands of us separated from each other, scattered throughout the galaxy.
But things might not have gone so well for some of these other factions. The Kree attempted to purge the Skrulls out of existence. That type of desperation would cause other Skrull factions to become far more aggressive and hostile. And once they learned that Talos' faction found a new home on Earth, the blue planet becomes their target. Earth is full of powerful beings and super advanced tech. It was also ground zero for Thanos' snap and the blip, so the universe knows all about Earth. The Skrulls have fallen from grace, and if they gain new power, they can rise from the ashes and reclaim their former glory, and rebuild their empire. Also, Nick Fury pretty much opened the floodgates when he allowed Talos and his friendly Skrulls into S.H.I.E.L.D.
Only because I had serious doubts about Beck from the beginning.
Not true, he had zero doubts.
Veranke can put her own agents in powerful positions and even replace some of Talos' own Skrulls.
Come on, Fred. How was I supposed to know that the whole thing was fake? I mean, that was all very, very convincing. This is just embarrassing for a shapeshifter.
Now, let's address the elephant in the room. The whole infiltration thing already happened in the MCU twice. Captain America the Winter Soldier and the Twisted Hydra was part of S.H.I.E.L.D. for decades.
Hail Hydra.
And in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Karli's movement infiltrated the GRC.
One world, one people.
So, having the Skrulls do the same feels like kind of a rehash.
Okay, that's a fair point.
But I guess third time's the charm. But also, the Flag Smashers might actually be a Trojan horse for the Skrull invasion. Remember, Sharon hired Batroc to assist Karli and help the Flag Smashers to infiltrate the GRC. Karli's movement seems to have a lot of people in a lot of places, which is exactly what the Skrulls want.
We are everywhere. You will see.
But there is some good and bad news when it comes to the MCU Secret Invasion. The bad news is the scale of the story will have to be a lot smaller than in the comics. Secret Invasion was a massive crossover event featuring most of the Marvel heroes and villains with endgame level battles. The Disney show is unlikely to have the same epic scope as the comics. But, I mean, that might not be such a bad thing. The big selling point of Secret Invasion is the tagline, "Who do you trust?"
One of them fellas is not what he says he is.
It's this paranoia that anyone can be a Skrull. A good inspiration for the show would be John Carpenter's The Thing, a movie that showcases perfectly how to do claustrophobic, shape-shifted horror.
If I was an imitation, a perfect imitation, how would you know if it was really me?
Couple that with some spy thriller tropes, and Marvel Studios will produce an espionage show. But the biggest Secret Invasion news is that the mother of dragons herself, Emilia Clarke, will be in the show.
Well, that's good news.
Clarke has now hit the fandom trifecta, playing Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones, Kira in Star Wars, and now a mystery role in the MCU. Oh, and she was also Sarah Connor in Terminator, but I'm pretty sure even Emilia herself wants to Dracarys that one from her resume.
Dracarys.
The most likely role for Emilia Clarke is Abigail Brand.
Here's my offer. I free you from the Kree, I keep you safe. In exchange, you work for me.
Abigail Brand is the head of S.W.O.R.D. and a mutant alien hybrid with the power to shoot fire from her hands. Very befitting of a Targaryen. She's a total badass who played a crucial role in the Secret Invasion storyline. And speaking of mutants, both Brand and S.W.O.R.D. have strong ties to the X-Men, so that opens the door for some other fun X-Men space adventure possibilities. Now, S.W.O.R.D. has already made an appearance in WandaVision, though we only saw the ugly side of the organization through Hayward.
Maybe it's a good thing you weren't here when your mother died, because clearly you don't have the stomach for this job.
5 minutes later.
Have fun in prison!
So Abigail will redeem S.W.O.R.D. during the Skrull Invasion. In the comics, S.W.O.R.D. is pretty much the space version of S.H.I.E.L.D., and they have their own space station orbiting Earth just like the Justice League's Watchtower. Abigail Brand will be a great addition to the MCU, and it'll be awesome to see her team up with Fury as S.W.O.R.D. battles the Skrulls. Also, this could eventually lead to a S.W.O.R.D. Disney Plus spinoff starring Emilia Clarke. But there's going to be another queen on the show, and that's Olivia Colman. Colman is such a talent that she can play any role, but I wager she might serve as the Skrull version of Veranke. Kingsley Ben-Adir is also set to appear in the show, though it's unclear who he will play. Rumors claim that he will be the main villain, so Kl'rt is a good possibility. But with the Skrulls being the baddies, how's Carol Danvers going to fit into all this?
What, you gonna get another haircut?
Listen, Furface, I'm covering a lot of territory.
It'll also be interesting to see how Carol reacts to the evil Skrulls after she's been helping Talos and his faction for years. And since the Secret Invasion show ties in directly to Captain Marvel 2, the Skrull story could grow beyond just the Disney Plus show. And we know that Monica Rambeau will show up in the sequel, and Ms. Marvel also ties into Captain Marvel 2. And so, Captain Marvel 2 might be the big culmination of the Secret Invasion story, with epic battles and all the bells and whistles that we all want to see. And speaking of team-ups, with Ms. Marvel and the Secret Invasion story, here's hoping that Hulkling shows up. He's a Skrull-Kree hybrid and a member of the Young Avengers. So far, every Disney Plus show has introduced or will introduce a member of this team. We did a whole video on that, check it out.
Do it.
But also, Secret Invasion could mean the return of dead characters like Tony Stark or Eric Killmonger. Just imagine Steve Rogers returns in Captain America 4, but he's actually been a Skrull all along. That's the fun of having shapeshifters. Marvel can bring back some actors for cameos and mess with the fans as they're all revealed to be Skrulls. And this also opens the door for some amazing battles with heroes forced to fight Skrulls who pretend to be their friends or even their own doppelganger. Oh wow, Marvel, please give me Samuel L. Jackson doing the Spider-Man imposter meme.
Who the f*** is this asshole? Hey, you shut your face!
But when the story plays out, how will the Secret Invasion story affect the future of the MCU? Assuming the evil Skrulls are defeated, where does that leave Talos and the other good Skrulls? After the blip, the MCU world is in chaos. There's distrust and confusion. Now just imagine how people will react when they learn about shape-shifting aliens.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm!
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm! Wait! Everybody calm down!
In the comic, the Skrull attack leads to Norman Osborn taking over S.H.I.E.L.D. and establishing the Dark Avengers. Something like this can totally happen in the MCU. We recently made a video about the possibility that Zemo will assemble a team of supervillains like the Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers. A Skrull invasion would give Zemo, or Thunderbolt Ross, the perfect excuse to clamp down and create their own team of superheroes. Imagine if Earth was infiltrated by shape-shifting aliens and Nick Fury let it happen.
It's stuff like this that gives me trust issues.
That's exactly the excuse Zemo will need to sow distrust and achieve his goals. So when everyone becomes suspicious about their neighbors being Skrulls, that's when Zemo could turn the public on the Avengers. He could claim that the Avengers were replaced by Skrulls, or blame them for failing to protect the Earth, again.
That's not going away anytime soon.
Carol and Fury knew about the Skrulls, and they didn't say anything. How could anyone trust them after they kept such a crucial secret from the world? Trust is easily lost, but very hard to regain.
No trust, liar.
And there's also the question of how other heroes will react to the Skrulls. This is something that could create tension between different members of the Avengers, causing them to choose sides against one another again. And just imagine if some heroes that have been around since Phase 1 are suddenly revealed to be Skrulls, like Rhodey.
Okay, what?
All of this could set up Civil War II in the future, where the heroes will clash over the Skrull reveal. And we all know that when there's friction between the Avengers, things always get so much more interesting in the MCU.
Our very strength invites challenge. Challenge incites conflict. And conflict breeds catastrophe.
If Captain Marvel leads the team that protects the peaceful Skrulls, who's going to oppose her? Well, what do you think? Is Sharon a Skrull? Who else might be a Skrull in the MCU? And what role should Emilia Clarke play? Let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.